It's still winter, so that means it is the perfect time of year to be making soup. Today I thought it would be fun to share some of my favorite soup recipes that I like to make for my family. If you're new here, hi, I'm Rebecca from the Tex-Mex Mom, and here on YouTube I like to share about feeding your family on a budget with things like meal plans, I share grocery hauls, and then I just share other frugal living type tips. So I'm so glad that you're here. So as a kid, I didn't particularly love soup. I feel like that's somewhat of a common thing with kids, but whenever my mom would make soup, she would almost always make some sort of delicious homemade bread or muffin, breadstick, something like that to go with the soup. That really helped us be more excited about soup dinners. So that's something that I've also done with my family. My kids don't love all the soups that I make. They try them, some they like more than others, but I try to always have some sort of a bread or a muffin or something so that the kids have something that they really like along with the dinner. So stay tuned to the end of the video because I will be sharing a few of my favorite breads to make to go along with soup. Now let's jump right into the 10 favorite soups that I like to make for my family. I thought I'd start out with this taco soup recipe because this is by far the soup that I make the most often. The kids all like it and it's just really easy. You dump in your cans of beans, your cans of tomato, and we usually do ground beef. And yeah, it comes together super fast. I serve it with tortilla chips and cheese and sour cream, and it's really delicious. Now, sometimes I'll make this version with chicken and also has corn in it, which adds a nice pop of color. Either way, we really like both of these taco soups. Next is just a basic chicken soup. Everyone needs to be able to make a basic chicken soup. It's especially good if you can make the chicken broth or chicken stock yourself just by boiling and cooking a chicken carcass, but either way, it's going to be great even if you purchase the broth. Sometimes I will add in noodles. My kids really like it that way. Next up is this beef and veggie soup. Now, the kids aren't as big fans of this because of all the veggies, but Pablo and I really enjoy it. I'll get a chuck roast when it's on sale, and then the soup will just simmer all day, and so the beef just gets super, super tender, like falling apart tender, and it's really good, really good. Next up is this soup. It's kind of like a nice variation on a basic chicken soup. It's actually called leftover turkey soup, but you can use, either turkey or chicken. But it's creamy, it has a little bit of rice in it and half, and it's very good, if I do say so myself. And then this soup, this is one that I have only made a few times now. It's newer to us, but it's a great kid-friendly soup. It's kind of like a tomato soup, but very creamy, and it has beef and pasta in it. So this is a great one to add if you've never tried this kind of soup. And I love a good potato soup. I wouldn't want to eat it like every week probably, but just every so often, it just really hits the spot. And this particular recipe I like because it just has really simple, basic ingredients, and it's really tasty. And of course, it's really good if you add some bacon and cheese on top. But even without that, it has really great flavors. So definitely one I enjoy making during the cold weather. Now this is called caldo de pollo. Sorry, my pronunciation is not the best, but Pablo found this recipe first and we enjoy making it. As you can see, you just have the chicken on bone in the soup, and there's cilantro in there, which adds a really good flavor. Then, of course, we can't forget white chili. It's similar to taco soup, but different, so it gives us a little variety. The recipe calls just for white beans, but I will add kind of whatever I have. And then you can do it in the crock pot or on the stove. And it turns out great either way. But I like this particular recipe. It calls for a little bit of cream cheese, so it just adds a nice extra richness to it. Next is this, it's zuppa toscana. This is an Olive Garden copycat recipe, although I've never had it at Olive Garden, but it is fantastic. It has kale and sausage and potatoes, and the flavor is just really rich. So not as much soup that my kids love, but Pablo and I both really enjoy it, and it's great with bread on the side. Next, everyone should have a good ham soup recipe. Now, I didn't have a picture of the one I usually make. I usually will do one with my leftover ham and beans, like a good ham and bean soup, but you can also do it with veggies like I have here, but it is great for after the holidays. Okay, and then moving on to the breads that I make most often. This French bread recipe is what I make the most to go with soup. Usually it turns out a little better than in this picture. They're like, my loaves are really fat there. But no matter how it looks, it tastes great. And It is a very simple recipe. You just have to give yourself time to let the bread rise, of course. So you have to take that into consideration. If you don't have time for that, these muffins are a great option. It's just like a really basic muffin recipe. You can add stuff to it or just keep them simple like this, but it's much quicker than bread. So if you do just need a quick side, these will come together in just a few minutes. Pop them in the oven for like 12 minutes or something, and you have a nice muffin. And then finally, this is a newer bread that I tried recently. It turns out looking really cool, baking it in a bundt pan, but it's really not that hard to make. It does take a lot of butter, so be aware of that. But my kids loved it, and they have been asking when I'm going to make it again. But it's fun to serve. You just pull it apart, and yeah, it looks fancy. What is your favorite soup to make during cold weather? Let me know in the comments. And if you're wanting more meal ideas just on a regular basis, I'm going to link the playlist from where I share every Monday my meal plan for the week. And hopefully that will give you just some fresh new meal ideas for your family. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will be back with my next video soon.